Yeah! All right, Joe Pelgizzo here. Once more, into the breach, my friends. Let's subscribe to my channel, JPearl TV. Get on your phone, go to JPearl TV, hit that subscribe button, and let's speak of it no more. Here we go. Val Kilmer is dead. The actor, Val Kilmer. Top Gun, Batman, Doc Holliday from Tombstone, Heat, Ghost in the Darkness, so many great movies. And now he's gone. Yes, we were friends in high school. Yes, we palled around together. Yes, I've talked about him in some of my books. Val Kilmer is gone now. Whew! So let's talk about it. Val Kilmer Remembered. San Fernando Valley, late 1970s. Chatsworth High School was where I first met Val. We were both in the same drama class, Mr. Corelli's class. I was 16, he was 1 year older. I don't remember how we first sort of hooked up. We were part of a small group of drama class misfits that got lumped together in our love of cheap weed and listening to Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. I think Val latched onto me because I was 1 year older, and that meant I could drive. You see, that opened up all kinds of possibilities. We got into some shenanigans as kids. You know, lighthearted stuff, not dangerous stuff, silly stuff, kid stuff. A lot of the stuff that we did was Val just wanting to flout authority for the of it. We went to the movies one time, and he insisted that I park the opposite way of how the white lines were in the parking lot. Why? I don't know. So instead of parking in the white lines like everyone else, I parked at a complete 90 degrees opposite of the lines, taking up 4 spaces. After the movie let out, we went out to the parking lot, and it was totally packed. Every space was filled except for my shitty car, which took up 8 whole spaces. Lots of you notes left on my windshield that day. Thanks, Val. We stole a bunch of those flashing light sawhorses from construction site and set them up in a completely different street and arranged them so people would think that that was a real construction zone. And then we watched as traffic was backed up for miles. We even put up a fake detour sign with an arrow pointing off in a different direction and watched the lines of cars drive off into the horizon to parts unknown. Kind of clever, actually. When I knew him from high school, Val was that character you saw in that movie that he did called Real Genius. When you saw him in that movie, that was really what he was like. That was him. Sort of a lovable goofball. I used to go to his house and have dinner with his dad and his brother Wes, who unfortunately later on drowned in his family's swimming pool. See, his family had money. His dad owned this real estate company called Realty, and his dad literally bought all of the houses around Val's house so he could pick his neighbors. You see, Val lived in Roy Rogers' old house, the TV cowboy star Roy Rogers. The house was even on Trigger Street, too, if you can believe it. It was a big ranch-style house, big swimming pool, tennis courts. He had a bathroom attached to his bedroom, and he used to do this weird thing to his buddies. When you asked to use his bathroom, he would let you go in for a minute, and then he'd bust in on you while you were taking a shit and snap a Polaroid of you on the toilet. He even had a scrapbook of all his friends on the toilet, me included, all with that same surprised look on their face with the picture taken. F***ing scrapbook. I went to my first rock concert with Val. We went to go see Jethro Tull at the Los Angeles Forum with 2 older women. And by older, I meant they were 18. The whole place was already thick with weed smoke by the time we got there. And when we sat down, someone next to me just passed me a joint and I took a hit. And I remember Val was a little freaked out because he didn't know yet that I smoked weed. What are you doing? Later on, Val went to the concession stand and he returned with 4 large orange drinks for the 4 of us. The stairs were really steep and it was dark, and he tripped and he dumped all 4 large drinks on some big biker dude seated right in front of us. Fucking drenched him. I'm sorry, he was saying. I'm sorry, I'll pay for a new shirt. But the guy turned around and looked at us, and he was so stoned. Nothing could possibly ruin the beauty of this concert, man. He was stoned immaculate, you see. Good times. Even back in high school, you could tell that Val was going places. You know, he was cute, he was funny, the chicks all dug him, and he could really act. So people sort of gravitated to him. He would host these huge parties at his house, and we would all go hog wild. Loud music blasting, casual sex near the pool, experimentation with drugs. It was off the chain. Kids that were sort of conservative and reserved in our drama class would lose their fucking minds at Val's parties. You see, drugs weren't dangerous back then. They were friendly. LSD, mushrooms, weed. Someone who later ended up being a famous lawyer in LA, off in the corner, screaming his head off like Jeffrey Dahmer because he just came onto the mescaline he took. You know, sometimes I would just be stoned and I'd be sitting in the corner of the living room watching the flickering disco lights and the loud music. I just sat there and watched the girls dance. It looked like an old Easy Rider movie, you know, old school Manson family shit. Hot chicks and Jordache jeans and Ditto's jeans, all grinding in unison to the Steve Miller Band. You know, next morning, there we were, all of us, passed out in a heap. We looked like that famous picture from the Jonestown Massacre, all huddled together. Then, you know, morning, back to normal life, back to school, back to the valley. Val's star was rising. He got the lead in the Shakespeare play Twelfth Night in our drama class. We did it as a Western. I mean, don't ask me why. I was Festy the Clown. Pretty close approximation to what I was at the time. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I wasn't really a great actor. I wasn't really a great anything. Mare Winningham was also in our class. She became famous too. She and Val sort of became an item for a while, and that made sense, you know, 2 stars colliding. A few years later, she too would have her own career. I remember watching her winning an Emmy on TV thinking, wow, wasn't I just in high school with her? After graduation, we all sort of lost touch. Val went to New York and studied at Juilliard. And then all of a sudden, he was the star of this movie, Top Secret. I remember watching the movie stoned in my living room thinking, what the fuck? That's Val. I mean, not too long ago, I was driving him around in my mom's shitty Buick fucking shit up. And now he's the star of this movie? It sort of fucked with me. I got to admit, I wasn't mad. Okay, maybe I was a little butthurt. I had to admit, I always said Val was going to do something big with his life, and I guess I was right. On the other hand, the actor Kevin Spacey was in our drama class too, and you would never think he was going to be famous, or infamous as it turned out. He was just some quiet kid. Okay, flash forward. So in the 80s, I finally ditched the valley in that dead-end life, and I went to live in a downtown LA loft with my band Love Hate. I became just another struggling musician trying to make it on the Sunset Strip, but at least that was something. A goal of sorts. I had finally figured out what I wanted to be, a musician. It seemed a pipe dream, but it was a dream nonetheless. It was a strange time, because it was real life, but it was also fantasy life. Every day you'd be thinking to yourself, could this be the day we get signed? But you're also thinking, wait a minute, what are the fucking odds of that happening? You tried not to ponder too much on that last one. We did, as you know, get a record deal, thank God. And along the way, I met Penelope Spheris, the director. She did that movie, Decline of Western Civilization Part 2, of which so many have been mocked. She invited us to the premiere of that movie at the famous Cinerama Dome in Hollywood, and it was a pretty big deal. So anyway, one day she called me. You should audition for that Doors movie, man. You'd be perfect. Really? In what sense? The drunk part? The drunk Morrison? Yeah, I could pull that off. Wouldn't even have to act, actually, just, be myself, the village idiot. So I went. An appointment was made for me to meet Oliver Stone at his studio down in Santa Monica, so I got my car and I drove down to the beach to meet him. I dressed the part, naturally, head to toe in black, and I actually did look the part, the Lizard King. As I entered the building, I passed a bunch of wannabe Ray Manzarek's and John Densmore's, all frantically hugging their scripts and giving me shitty looks. Who does that guy think he is? So I met Oliver Stone, I went to his office, and we chatted a bit, and that's when I learned that my old buddy Val Kilmer had already beaten me to the punch. He was already set to play Morrison. Val again, no! It was all right. I mean, what was I doing there anyway? It was all Penelope Spheeris' idea. I was just some musician dude that luckily just landed this huge record deal. Shook his hand, walked out of his office, went straight into the studio, and I made that classic record, Blackout in the Red Room, and the rest is history. Val went on to do Top Gun, then he did Batman, his star kept rising, then I don't know, his ego got the best of him, and he sort of became persona non grata for a while, so say the rumors. The Saint, The Island of Dr. Moreau, a couple other turkeys. There were a few years of movies he was in that went straight to video. Bad times, but I get it. I'm an artist. I understand. You take the work when you get it. You still have to make a living. We all take gigs we don't like sometimes. It's the price of being able to fly like Peter Pan. I wrote a fictional story in one of my books about a guy who went to high school with Val Kilmer, and in the story, apparently, he was also the spitting image of Val Kilmer. Total lookalike. For years, this guy watched Val's career skyrocket, while on his end, this poor guy could never catch a break. Failed opportunity after failed opportunity. And because of that, his animosity to Val and his hatred of Val sort of festered for years. So much so that in the story, one day he decided to cash out his bank account and buy this expensive leather outfit because he heard that there was an after party for the Doors movie at the Whiskey A Go-Go in Hollywood, and our boy decided to crash the party. He's standing there on the sidelines, and he saw Sal/Val come out of a limo. Hey, it's me from high school. He convinced Val to let him in, and then this kid proceeded to f*** everything up. He got into the party, he got really drunk, and quickly his hatred and resentment of Val boiled over. He started screaming at him from the stage, "It should have been me that played Jim Morrison, not you!" And of course, he was summarily thrown out. End of story. Fiction, of course. Really. The other guy wasn't me. Not really. It might have been me, I guess, had I not had my own little rock career. But safe to say, it was all fiction. So, Val is gone, and it's sad. And yes, I did know him in high school. Lots of us did. We hung out with him, we got high, and we experimented. Life was simple and easy. And some people went on to bigger and better things, and some people just stayed in the valley and didn't do squat. Thank God I broke out. The rock gods have their plan, you see. Most times you can't see it clearly. We all bounce through life thinking that everything that happens to us is one giant coincidence, but in reality, it's not. There is a plan. Val had what would be called a meteoric rise to fame, and then he sort of fell from grace. It happens. And then he got sick, and that sucks. His death, unfortunately, not a complete surprise. We're all getting older. I'm going to hate to see my rock idols fall by the wayside. No more Mick Jagger, no more Elton John. The end of an era. Their presence strengthens me and gives me hope. Hope that we can all still carry on. I always say that if I can do it, so can you. But it does take hard work and perseverance, and not everyone is willing to make those sacrifices, man. Try the keto diet. Put down the sugar, stop eating the bread, and you will lose the weight. It's amazing. But the bread tastes so good, Jizzo. I know it does. I know. The price is hard. Give up the booze, dude, for the greater good. Sober singers sing better. But we love Guinness, Jizzo. We love it. So did I, man. I love that first pint, just not the other 15 or 20 pints that came after that. I guess that was the problem. The twisted life of an artist. Equal parts stress and fun and not knowing where your next paycheck is going to come from, and excitement when you release a new song, punk rock fiesta, and then hard travel and more disappointment and more stress and getting older, another birthday, another crow's foot. The picture of Dorian Gray hanging in my bedroom is getting grayer and nastier as we speak, but no worries, man, because we're still carrying on. And here I am, just doing another video. Hooray for YouTube! It's your old pal Jizzo, rockin' and rollin'. We'll see you next time.